please. Today we will look at the word, and you're like, just get to it, but I love your voice. Like, it takes about 30 seconds, and now the word. And so, there's that, but there's also client relation. Like if I'm dealing strictly with the engineer, I might not have direct access to client, but they will. And a lot of times we'll have some type of, like a casting, let's say, if I get the gig, I might have some type of conversation with client, because a lot of times remote work is just done on your own pace. Sometimes it's, you patch in, or you source connect, or you do a live. Some people Zoom in, it's wild. But yeah, I think we all want to do, our best. And so, yeah, pronunciation guides, client help, and when I'm working with clients in China and things like that, again, it's quite far removed from the way that my mouth formed. And so, sometimes I'm always going to be imperfect. Like, I think we all know this, like a certain part of your development, things start to solidify. The malleability of our childhood nature goes away a little bit. And so if you don't learn a new language until you're in your teens or 20s, it's a lot different than if you learned it in your sponge years, where your body was still able to go, I will include that. And the articulators adapt for that. Yeah.
Finish it.
Which word?
And the word is finish it.
Oh, I didn't have a word example. Now we are asking the question. What is your question?
Two things. First off, love the nails. I
Thanks.
noticed those, and they were like shining in the light, and I was like, I couldn't help but notice them. They're great. I love them. Second off, do you know of like any resources to like get used to voice acting in a way? Like, I don't know how to word it. Like,
Some people are waiting for a guidebook, and some people are just going to pick up something that they can read out loud and listen back. Because a lot of us have a bit of a wall in our mind as to like what we think we sound like and then what we actually sound like, and we hate the truth because we've never heard it, and it takes a while for that wall to break down. But also, like, reading out loud so it doesn't sound like you're reading is hard, right? We probably learned in English literature class, like this is a comma pause, this is a period pause, this is a cadence of sentence structures, and pretty soon we're talking like this. And every sentence is ending like that. And you're like, well, but that's not the way we would communicate. So even when we're reading a book out loud, we want to try and make it sound like it's happening right now. That we're talking to someone, not at people, because when we talk at people, no one cares, it's a droning lecture, Bueller, Bueller. Talking to each other is a hard thing to master when you're alone. And so it takes either the confidence to just keep trying, just reading out loud, performing, and being okay with, this is a weird thing, but I'm training myself to normalize it. And some people even put a picture up in their booth and they talk to that picture. Or if they're a very good imaginative person, they imagine who they might talk to and they're specific with it. I'm going to talk to my friend, I'm going to talk to my family member, I'm going to talk to a colleague, because I think I could imagine how this conversation would go. And then I can talk to them, even though they're not here, and it will sound like I'm talking to an audience. Yeah? But yeah, you don't have to wait for a resource guide. There's things you can do. You can look up tongue twisters, you can look up diction exercises, you can just like write down a script from a commercial or a piece of anime or a piece of VG that you like and just try it out. But there's also things like, yeah, you can reach out to a coach or a mentor, and sure, we can task you with things. Here, let's work on this for an hour. Let's make sure that you're getting to your offering that's less about am I good and more so I want to communicate and connect with someone. Yeah. All right. I don't even know. Like, should we be like making a list of like? There's so many wonderful questions. All right, at the very back. Yes. Some people are. It sometimes depends on the echelon at which they're working. Certainly, I'm a working VA. I don't believe that I'm in the territory where people are like, yeah, I'm really looking for a Steve Bloom voice or a Billy West voice, but we can't afford them. Can we make it in AI? So there's that part of it, right? Where you get to a certain level and yeah, you're very valuable, and so how do you protect that value? Whereas, yeah, I'm like a workaday VA. I get to do some cool things. I get to come here. Like all that stuff's really nice. But with regards to, will AI replace me? I think it's an important conversation to have. I know we're hyper fixated right now because it's affecting and it's important. But it's also, humans are going to nth everything. we used to put a freaking clock in a golf club. Like, it's just so stupid. Like, why do we have to nth everything? Because we're human. And is it ideal? Talk to your neighbors in the US. Is it ideal that we're nthing everything? No, it's not ideal, but we have to do it. And hopefully what we'll learn from that is that we don't want computers to make our art, but we had to go through that process of going, whoa, look at the weird, okay, it's pretty weird. And there will come a time when, you know, the AI voice will just be quite functional. We can all hear a little bit of the falsity in some of it these days. And we go, well, that's lame, but we know how good it's getting, and we know for some clients, they were never going to be interested in a real life connection anyways, and that's unfortunate, but so many are, and I think we'll just have to see what time will tell. In terms of legal protections for the way that my squishy meat sack makes sounds, no, I don't have legal protections, and I guess that's probably not going to be a pursuit, but I think it's an important thing to be considering, especially if you have something that is way, just that way more valuable and niche type of a product. Yeah, all right, flipping over, I'll get you just one sec. Yeah?
Would you say that living in Calgary has been maybe a hindrance on your work in any way? Just because when I was younger and going to conventions, a lot of the VAs would say, oh, you gotta move to Houston, or you gotta move to Vancouver,
Right.
you gotta move to
Yeah.
Toronto.
Yeah, and I almost never meet my directors. They're almost always just over my headset from work.
I know I'll never be the same. Shook my world so hard again. Wish I washed away my sins. He's a dead